Can you hear me now? Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me? Okay, I assume you can hear me now. Okay, good. Wanted to share my thoughts on Minister Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam being on the Word Network this past Monday night, I believe it was, with Pastor Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant. Hey there, Shamar Davis. If you have any questions or whatever comments, please feel free. We can talk about this some. Now, as many of you may or may not know, the Word Network is understood as being a Christian broadcasting network. I don't know. It says, I think they say religious, so they do have an out. So, so that's that. But primarily, probably 99.9% of all their broadcasts are all Christian oriented. And so, Minister Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam was one of the guests on there with the host Jamal Bryant, Pastor Jamal Bryant out of Baltimore Empowerment Temple. And Mr. Farrakhan is getting ready for his Justice or Else on 10/10/15. It's going to be the 20th anniversary of the March on Washington, the Million Man March, and October 10th, 2015, and so he's doing a lot of press. And he and Pastor Bryant, they hooked up and joined together. And Pastor Bryant pulled a lot of strings, and God whatever he could to host him on his show there on the Word Network. And a lot of Christians, a lot of saints, a lot of church folk were very upset that how could a man who is Islamic, Muslim, does not worship the deity of Christ, he recognizes Christ, be on a Christian network. Also, some had an issue with the fact that, I will say this, but one of the things about Minister Louis Farrakhan, he very knowledgeable of the Bible, very, very knowledgeable of the Bible, and he quoted the Bible several times and tried to almost preach a little bit. But anyway, the purpose of it, from my understanding, was to push the whole Black Lives Matter piece, the injustices that are happening to blacks here in the United States, especially with the police brutality and all that. And I understand all that, and there is a need for some action to be taking place. Let me say this also, Pastor Bryant said that the Lord convicted him because when all the stuff was going on in Baltimore with Freddie Gray and all that, the Lord convicted him, saying if the Bloods and the Crips could sign a peace treaty, why can't the Christians and the Muslims come together? And there's some validity. We need to unite. However, I think it seemed like the purpose for that broadcast that night was to talk about this Justice or Else campaign and 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. Not really sure if that was the proper forum, because you have to think about, one of the things they tell you about being a preacher and a public speaker, you have to know your crowd. Excuse me, allergies acting up with all this rain, and you have to know your crowd. And as powerful as some of the things that Minister Louis Farrakhan says, some of it I agree with, some of it makes good points, some of it I don't agree with. However, the crowd that he was speaking to that night may not have been the right crowd. Because more than just black folk watch the Word Network. I'm not, it is what it is. Thank you, Randy. And so I think that there was some misdirection, maybe some miscues that were sent. They sent off the wrong signal because I believe Pastor Bryant meant well. I believe that his intent is pure. But a lot of people didn't like that. Now, let me just say this. I will say this, and I'm going to editorialize here for a moment. This is my Periscope if I can, and you can talk back to me or leave your comments below for those of you who see this on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube later. My whole thing is this. To me, it's sad that a Muslim minister, imam, whatever you want to call it, leader, has to be the one to be so definitive and decisive on a lot of these issues that he talked about. Minister Farrakhan talked about on Monday night on the Word Network. It grieves me that with a lot of the changes, with a lot of things that are going on here in the United States of America, tyranny is at an all-time high. Also, we have the Constitution has just been completely thrown out of the window. There definitely is a problem of police brutality. There are some racial issues, and not just with blacks, Mexicans, brown people, white, poor white, Asian. It's all over. It's a shame that the Christian church, whether white or black, has not had leaders rise up to that level to address these issues. For instance, now there are some bishops who and pastors who have really been speaking out on a lot of the issues that have been going on, the voting rights, the same-sex marriage issue with the Supreme Court, police brutality, and I'm talking more than Reverend Al Sharpton and Reverend Jesse Jackson. Beyond that, I'm talking about those who are actually pastoring a church or over an organization. But there are a lot. There's some, but there's one bishop in Atlanta, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind me calling his name, but I don't want to start it. Who's very clear and adamant about politically and active with what's going on, and he has really a strong voice, and he's been really speaking out. He just retired recently, but he's still pastoring in Atlanta. There are other pastors, there are other leaders of reformations, there are other bishops, if you will, that have a strong national, international platform, international following, who have remained eerily silent on a lot of these issues. I don't know if it's because of their relationship with the president, or or I'm not sure. But even this past week, one prominent bishop in the church, and you can look it up, said that they're evolving on some issues, and I don't know. I just think that we either believe what we believe, or we don't. We're either with it, whatever it is, or we're not. When it comes to God's word, I mean, if you're for it, be for it, whatever it is. But straddling the fence, being on one, trying to teeter-totter to try to make everybody happy. You can't be all things to all people. And I have a problem with that. And one of the things about, hey, Miss Gina, one of the things I have a problem with, let's see, Cyrus says here, Christian pastor brought out by the enemy. Well, one of the things I have a problem with is that, for instance, Minister Louis Farrakhan, whether you agree with him or not, he's very decisive, he's very clear on what he's for and what he's against. I think too many Christian pastors and leaders are trying to straddle the fence. They don't want to offend. They don't want to, make anyone upset. They're worried about, is the government going to take my grant money? Am I going to lose my 501c3 tax status and all that and this and that? And listen. The Bible says that's uncalled for, preachers. It's uncalled for. That's uncalled for. And I'm just a little country preacher here in Tampa, Florida, trying to do God's will. But I understand and I see what's going on around us in this country, in this world. And okay, the day is gone now where being a Christian, yes, I am country. The day is gone now where we're going to sit in the church and be comfortable and not have to deal with anything. We're being called out. We're being hated. We can't even hardly say anything in public now. So this is the age that we're in. But here's the thing. So if you believe what you believe, understand you're going to offend. Matthew 24. Yeah, Al Sharpton was an FBI informant. Yes, he was. Cyrus Music. Yes. Matthew 24 says, in the last days, before the Son of Man comes, many shall be offended. Many shall be offended. That word is scandaliza, scandalon. Where you get the word scandal from. Okay. Many shall be offended in those last days, and the love of many will grow cold and wax cold. Understand something. And I believe we're in the last seconds of the last days. However, you believe the tribulation is coming now, whatever the case. The point is, many shall be offended. And understand something. If you believe what you believe, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Christian, whether you're Hindu, if you believe what you believe, you got to stand up, be clear, and understand you're going to offend somebody. Okay? And I think it's time out for us now to be sitting as Christian pastors and just say, well, I don't want to bother nobody. I'm just going to stay in my little corner. You can't stay in your little corner in your little church or your big church and just, I'm not going to get involved in anything. No. You have to stand up because our rights as Christians and our rights as Americans are being stripped away quicker than we can think about it. So, why I said all that to say, Minister Farrakhan, even though I don't agree with all that, a lot of stuff he says, he's decisive and he's clear about what he's saying. And that's what people are looking for. People don't like wishy-washy. Even if they don't agree with you, they want you to be a strong leader. I don't agree with everything Donald Trump is saying. Most of Donald Trump is a lot of things. But the reason why he's leading in the polls is because he is saying what he's saying because I guess he believes it, but he's saying what he's saying, and he does not mind offending others to speak about the issues that everybody else wants to tiptoe around about. So now, if the heathen Donald Trump, I call him a heathen, if the heathen Donald Trump, who does not confess to know Christ, who does not confess to know God, can stand up unashamedly and unafraid, then what about those of us who say we have Christ in our heart? Those of us who are supposed to be proclaiming God's word. If you're against a certain issue, then say it and stand with it. If you're with it, then say it and stand with it. Don't straddle the fence. And so, back to the Word Network. I don't think that was the best decision because, but I think the issue is now what's done is done. But I tell you what, we have now got to stop just preaching the Lord gonna make a way and everything will be all right. No, we're gonna have to start preaching what's going on outside those four walls of the church. We're going to have to start dealing with real life issues, and which means that sometimes you may not get happy, you may not shout or dance or scream or holler, you may not get prophesied to and all that stuff, but you're going to lead that church, rightly dividing the word and being able to apply it to what is going on in the world every day. Please, folks, let's just not sit by idly and watch this stuff happen. Justice Arrels is 10-10-15. He wants 1 million men. He's asking for the Hispanics. He's asking for the Latinos, the Asians, the Indians, all those, the poor whites, anybody who wants justice to go there to Washington, D.C. to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. But listen, it's time now for you, male or female, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, whatever the case, to start standing up for what you believe. Wishy-washy stuff ain't no more. You're going to offend some folks. Jesus said, I'd rather be hot or cold than lukewarm. It makes you nauseous. So, I commend Pastor Jamal Bryant for taking that, because at least he's standing for what he believes. I wouldn't have had Mr. Farrakhan on the Word Network, but he stood because he's trying to make a difference. Sometimes when you make a difference, everybody doesn't agree, but at least you're doing something than straddling the fence and trying to make everybody happy. Give me your comments. Let me know what you think. This is Rob Carpenter. Hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, all those, and Periscope. Rob Carpenter 2. Let me see your comments at the bottom. God bless. Peace out.